Call the work session to order. Roll call, please.
Mayor Orndorff, Commissioner Hewitt.
Here.
Vice Mayor Sui,
Here.
Commissioner Watson,
Here.
Commissioner Romanek.
Here.
Okay,
Have an announcement.
that one, if you want to tilt it that way a little more, that'd be great. So, hold on 1 second.
It's a speaker.
Yeah, he's gonna move it. They have to face that way, I think. And that one too.
You have the rate requirements?
And
Hey.
that one over there too.
You mean the one
The one on the right.
against the wall?
Yeah,
Kurt,
Yeah,
the
that
one
one.
all the way behind you back there.
that's better.
And this steps on.
Thank you. Yeah, it's not here, right? Okay, that's better. Great.
That one probably.
That one, yeah. That's good. I'm too short. Okay, perfect. That's better.
Good as it's going to get, I guess.
Okay.
Anyway, we have an announcement.
Yeah, so due to illness, Mayor Orndorff will be taking an indefinite leave of absence effective today until further notice.
And with that, salute to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This meeting is being conducted in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act of 1975, was advertised, posted, and made available to the public as required by statute. The municipal clerk is directed to include a statement in the minutes of this meeting. Madam Clerk, any changes to the agenda?
Yes, Vice Mayor, there's the addition of a closed session for the Buckshootum Solar LLC versus City of Millville and City of Millville Planning Board under the attorney-client privilege and pending litigation.
Thank you. We have a presentation by the CFO.
Yeah, yours has to be this way. Yeah.
Is this mic on?
Mhm.
Okay. So I don't particularly have a presentation. It's just really more of an overview and explanation of some of the ordinances and the resolutions that are on for the agenda for this evening. The first ordinance, I believe, is 9-2024. It's an ordinance authorizing continuing environmental remediation work and what was demolition of a building at the former airwork facility in the amount of $400,000. We're required to pay certain fees in regards to this site. It's the LSRP. This has been an ongoing works at this facility, at this location, and our required portion is 15% of the total cost of ongoing site works there. Some of that entails soil remediation, ongoing groundwater treatment, vapor intrusion, and any type of monitoring in those regards. A lot of times governments just end up with certain sites that need some type of work in order to get it back on tax rolls. And unfortunately, this is one of those sites, and at least our portion is only a small portion of the overall cost. The intent of this ordinance is it's going to cover our fees for the next 10 years, hopefully to the end of this required LSRP service at this site.
And we had a previous bond issued for the same reason that lasted over a decade.
Yes.
10 years, yeah.
It's been a very long period of time for this. So this is just additional ongoing work, and sometimes you really don't know how long this work is going to entail, especially when there's any type of contamination on a site. The next ordinance is ordinance 10-2024. It's an ordinance authorizing acquisition and renovation of city warehousing and storage facility in the amount of $2 million. Now, the intent of this ordinance is, there was a lot of discussion last meeting on ongoing economic development in the city of Millville. We have a facility that we currently use, 15th Street, that we currently have our public works and a lot of storage records, but it's in an area that is more beneficial to the city as a whole to be back on the tax rolls and to be something that's a private business as opposed to government-owned and tax exempt. What we need to do, though, is if someone is to buy that site, we need a spot to put our extra equipment. We need warehousing and storage. The intent, the ordinance is, if we do not sell that site, we do not need to proceed with this ordinance. If that site is sold, we need to act quickly to get our stuff out of there and into a new site, a new location. If that site is sold and we do proceed with this, the proceeds from the sale, the intent is, and in section 10, it very specifically outlines that the proceeds from that sale is going to pay for this $2 million bond. The ordinance itself allows for us to borrow notes if we have to. In the meantime, just based on budget laws. Revenue coming in normally cannot be used to just completely offset a cost as soon as it occurs. It needs to be raised and put into the next budget year. But what this ordinance does is we can get some notes if we need to in order to have the cash flows to make this all happen. But it's better to have this now than to have a problem later and have to incur any type of rental fees or any kind of issue where we're going to have no place to store our extra items that are on that site now.
So in other words, it's not like if I get a personal check for $50,000, I can go spend it tomorrow, but the city can't do that.
Right, exactly. We cannot just completely say, okay, we got $5 today, we can spend it on something $5 tomorrow. It just does not work that way. We also have two resolutions that are on for the meeting. I believe it's resolution item number 2 and 3, engineering services, one for Wayne Johnson and one for ACOM. The certification of funds, as you can see, very specifically reference the most recently passed ordinance, which was, I think, 6-2024. And that was for the second clarifier. So of that $11 million that was authorized through that ordinance, funds from that ordinance is going to pay for these engineering costs associated with that project.
So in other words, it's not like double dipping, both companies aren't getting paid twice for the same number of hours of work, for the same 2 hours of work. They're getting paid out of separate accounts for separate projects.
Right.
You guys have any questions?
I have a question for the ordinance on the first reading, number 2, which was the bond for the $2 million. Now you said that, I mean, if this is, approved, it's going to be like on hold, I guess.
Yes.
Until the 15th Street facility is sold.
Yes.
Okay. So like, if we were, so it's not going to be at any cost. It's not costing us anything to apply until the 15th is sold, underway. We're ready to move in somewhere, and then we can use this bond.
Correct.
Now, like if we, and this is just a question because I mean I don't know, like if we do take out a bond, or like fees, or like what's the cost to the city to take out a bond?
Well, the ordinance itself, it really is just giving us the budget, the mechanism to either proceed with professional services or to a purchase, and to authorize us that if we need cash flow to issue bonds or over a period of time, bonds. So the ordinance itself, so like for example, this one here, if something never happens with 15th Street and we never need a storage facility, we can cancel this ordinance and we don't incur any extra cost. It just gets canceled.
Very good.
Going to the same bond.
Yeah, because we're not borrowing money. This just gives us the authorization to proceed when and or if we need the cash flows.
It's preparing you to,
Yes, it gives us that legal authority, that financial authority.
with us doing that, if things go south, we don't sell 15th Street, which is what we're tying this to.
Exactly.
That's not going to be, we're not opening up a Pandora's box here to say, okay, we authorize $2 million. Let's go do something else.
No.
Okay.
We made it very specific on purpose.
Okay.
Yeah. We made sure all the language was in that section 10 to very specifically specify that item.
Thank you.
Any more questions?
No.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Public comment on agenda items only. Anybody having any comments, please approach the microphone and limit your time to 5 minutes. Seeing no one, reports of commissioners. Commissioner Romanek.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Vice Mayor, at this time, I do not believe I have anything.
Commissioner Hewitt.
Yes, thank you. I'm going to take a little bit of time tonight because it's a work session. First, I want to give some statuses as far as public safety goes. EMS status. All 4 trucks are up and running. They're ready to be in service if need be. I need to give a shout out to Randy and his crew out at 15th Street Garage. We had 2 breakdowns, not major, minor, but they were on them quick. Repaired them that day, the day of, and returned the 2 ambulances back to service. So for that, Randy, your guys greatly appreciate it. Sam Cruz, I got to give a shout out to Sam Cruz, and please be, go with me here. There's no other way to put it. One of our ambulances, we had to transport a patient, and they were infested with bed bugs. So naturally, who do we call when we got to call somebody to go to? Sam Cruz. She had that ambulance disinfected, the stretcher, everything inside of it that day, and it was placed back in service. Thank you, Sam Cruz. Still staying with the EMS side. We discussed maybe 3 meetings ago about a grant that we put in for through the EMS squad. We wrote that grant ourselves. That was for CO2 detectors, upgraded detectors. EMTs will have them on them. They can enter a building, say there's high CO, high hydrogen, sulfite. It's going to alert them. We got 5 of these, and we got them through a grant from the Wawa Corporation. So kudos to Janelle, our EMT, and thank you to Wawa. Fire department status. Engine 34 is out of service due to an oil leak. Again, our shop out on 15th Street has ordered parts, so they get them, they'll be back on route. Ladder 32 is in service, but has air brake issues and a broken pulley on the ladder. The certification company has come down and looked at it. It is certified safe to operate by that company. That ladder will go out of service when the new tower, which is back up in North Jersey, having all the tools put on it, when it returns, it will go in service. Ladder 32 will come out of service for repairs. Cost on that is not available yet. As I said, all ambulances are in service at this time. Police department. For those that work in the building, for those that come in the first floor from the back parking lot, they notice police presence, it's fine. We have moved the training division for Millville PD and the SROs, which are school resource officers, from the police department building, the admin building, to downstairs on the first floor. This is for the general public. It's been happening a lot. Myself or any commissioner or the mayor is not somebody's personal dispatch. If you have an issue and you think it's enough of an issue to contact the police department, don't contact us. There is a general phone number for the police department. It'll take you to dispatch. It's not an emergency line. It's not our jobs up here. It's definitely not my job, even though I'm public safety director, to be your dispatcher. It's been happening a lot. And we just can't do it. It's not in our purview to do that. Questions about normal everyday operation of the police department. Again, phone call to the normal service, non-emergency service line. You can either call that and ask for the chief's secretary. You can send an email. I don't take messages to the police department because somebody doesn't want to be on the record for calling about something. If you don't want to be on the record, it can't be too important to you to report it. any specific questions or comments about the PD, I take them, but I always defer to my chief or lieutenant or captain. Basically, we're not the police department. I'm not the police department. I'm here to make sure what the police department has what they need. Things have to go through regular chain of command. Susan, thank you for your information on the bonds. I had questions, which has helped with what my decision is going to be. 15th Street, I hope we get that closed. I know I missed the meeting today because I was in union negotiations, but I did check with the city solicitor on what happened in the economic development meeting. And other than that, I think I'll stop there and we'll have a little bit more for later on. With that, progress.
All right, so my turn. First with 15th Street, just so the public knows, the asking price for that was $6 million. So you can see that, I don't know if we're going to get the asking price, that's all negotiable, but you can see that that represents quite a significant sum for the city should it get sold. So hence, that's the reason to have the bond in place, so that we can make sure that that sale gets facilitated. Next, I'm going to talk about OPA requests for a minute. So it's certainly well within your right to fill out OPA requests, and I encourage you to do so. But with those rights also come a cost. So for the total for OPRs for 2024 is 69, and 1 week we received 37 OPRs. So we have 2 people right now working in the clerk's office, and we hired a temporary person. What we're going to have to do is if this pace keeps up, is hire somebody to do that, to do OPRs. And if we do that, we probably should hire an attorney, such as Vineland did, because then we can have somebody gather the information and redact the information that needs to be redacted at the same time. So you know, so if we hire an attorney, I'm estimating the cost is going to be somewhere around $175,000 a year. So, you know, we certainly don't mind giving you guys the information you asked for. We're more than happy to do it. A lot of times we have to ask for clarification because somebody will fill out an OPA request and they'll be requesting 2,000 pages of documents. And then sometimes in the end, they don't want all 2,000 pages. So I'm just asking you to be responsible when you ask for the OPA request, when you fill out the forms, and to advise you that there is a cost associated with you exercising those rights. So I don't look forward to doing that. I have a list of the OPA requests if anybody would like to see them. You know, I have a picture of the box for just this year so far of the paperwork entailed in this. Anybody wants to look at that, it's up here for you guys to look at. And with that, I have nothing else. So now we've reached the public comment portion. Anyone that would like, oh, I'm sorry, any new business?
No, Vice Mayor.
Okay, so now we've reached the public comment portion of the meeting. Anyone that would like to address the commission, please go to the podium, state your name and address.
The only thing I had, I just was gonna make a comment to the public that I was gonna hopefully have a presentation at the next meeting for the lift that we're looking at for Fleet. Fleet's,
That's after they comment, if they have anything to comment on, we do the comments.
we skipped my part. It was.
Oh, we didn't, I thought I did yours.
Nope,
Oh,
nope.
my
Commissioner
apologies. I
Hewitt
really
and
did not do
Commissioner
that on
Watson.
purpose. I apologize.
It's okay. Like I said, the only thing I had was the lift. Fleet department, they're trying to work on some prices for me, do a little bit of background so I can have a proper presentation, let the public know what your tax dollar is going to be spent on. Other than that, that's all I have. And you know what? Just to touch base, what Kirk said, Fleet did a great job, you know, getting the ambulances back in service. It was like a matter of hours. I mean,
Yes,
3
it
4
was.
hours. Great job to them. Good response. So that's all I have. Sorry about this.
I apologize.
It's all
He
good.
talked a long time.
It's okay.
All right, now we'll go to the public comment portion. Anybody have anything to say, please go to the microphone and limit your comments to 5 minutes.
Hi, I'm Rose Sias, 1239 Whitaker Avenue, Millville. I missed what she had said about why we have to sell that 15th Street warehouse.
We don't have to sell it. What makes that property so valuable is it has a rail line behind it, a separate rail line. So a lot of businesses are interested in rail transportation. A lot of it has to do with stuff that happened during COVID where, you know, in my opinion at least, there used to be something called just-in-time delivery. That's one reason, right? So when you were running a factory or whatever, you wanted the parts or whatever to get there right in perfect time. Well, you saw what happened with supply chain interruptions, right? Nobody could get anything. So storage space became at a premium. And also because of all the online ordering, storage space is at a premium. So when we do this, we'll do it under a redevelopment agreement. And when we, if and when we do this, if we sell under a redevelopment agreement, that means the commission gets to decide whether it's a good project or not. So we don't have to sell it, but you can see if we can spend $2 million to replace the facility and get $6 million for the facility, it gives this city $4 million to work with, to do infrastructure improvements or whatever the commission decides to do with that money. So that's the reason we considered selling it. Seeing no one else. Resolution for a closed session?
Yes. So we have a resolution authorizing a closed session for the following matters: the Buckshootum Solar LLC versus City of Millville and City of Millville Planning Board, docket number CML 000-53923, under attorney-client privilege and pending litigation.
Make a motion?
Second motion.
A motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Hewitt?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Sui?
Yes.
Commissioner Watson?
Yes.
Commissioner Romanek?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries.
I was gonna say, you're in the wrong chair. We got a meeting to do.
I'd like to make a motion to close the work session.
Second motion.
Motion and a second, roll call.
It's all